into the Tainted Tavern. Come sit a while for free. We talk about our musings and devices we've been using.
Hello, I'm Gary Dobbs, landlord of the Tainted Tavern, and welcome to the Tainted Tavern. Today I'm going to talk about a movie that is a Blu-ray release of the 1974 blockbuster, the highest grossing picture of 1974. In fact, that is Irwin Allen's The Towering Inferno. As the time of recording this video, this is not available in a 4K restoration, although there was a 4K print developed for the 50th anniversary of the movie, but that hasn't come out on disc, so probably it will be a future release. But I'm going to talk specifically about the movie itself and the Blu-ray version, which is pretty damn fine. And I'm going to be drinking a Brewdog AZ Jane, which is an AZ IPA. I'm really into AZ IPAs at the moment. I like the fruitiness of them. Brewdog, of course, is used to be a fantastic brewery. Started out as a craft brewery, and these days it's kind of controversial. They're closing a lot of pubs across the country, so they're not doing as well as they once were. And apparently there's a lot of controversy with the way that the company treats its staff, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to talk about how absolutely delicious Brewdog AZ Jane is. On the side of the can it says tropical state of mind, and I think I would agree with that, because the main taste I always get from AZ Jane is pineapple. And it is pineapple forward. Right, let's go back to the movie. Now, The Towering Inferno, as I say, was made in 1974, produced, and the action scenes were directed by Irwin Allen. Irwin Allen, of course, had had a hit a few years previously with the Poseidon Adventure, which started off the cycle of disaster films that were so popular during the 1970s and remained popular until the spoof movie Airplane came out in 79, I believe. I could be wrong on that. It may have even been 1980, but it was somewhere around there. But Airplane, which spoofed the disaster movies, and more or less they couldn't be taken seriously after that, even though they'd already started to lose at the box office. But at the time that The Towering Inferno was made, the genre of disaster movies was huge. There's a stellar cast in here. We've got Steve McQueen, we've got Paul Newman, we've got William Oldham, we've got Faye Dunaway, we've got Fred Astaire, there's Richard Chamberlain, there's Robert Vaughn, there's Robert Wagner. It's just a massive cast. And this movie made history, or made movie history, because there were Irwin Allen was trying to purchase the rights to a novel called A Tower, which was this story of the world's largest skyscraper suddenly catching fire, but they were outbid by Warner Brothers. Irwin Allen was with Fox at that time, and they were outbid by Warner Brothers. He was absolutely furious, but there was a very similar novel in the pipeline called The Glass Inferno, which Irwin Allen snapped up the rights to. Both novels were very, very similar. And he realised then, because Irwin Allen really was the driving force behind The Towering Inferno, but he decided to approach Warner Brothers because he felt it would be box office suicide for the two companies to make simultaneous disaster movies that were so similar. It would be box office suicide for both of them. And so, for the first time in movie history, two major studios, that is Warner Brothers and 20th Century
Hello,
Fox.
faggot lovers everywhere. I've a message for you from Birdseye. Birdseye faggots will appeal to your whole family. They've made them with lashings of gravy, but they've gone easy on the spice because kids don't like them too spicy, apparently. Birdseye even suggests that people who don't like faggots could enjoy these. They live in hope. You know, they could be right.
And 20th Century Fox came together to make one movie, which ended up being called The Towering Inferno, which took the title of one novel, The Tower, and mixed that up with the title of the second novel, The Glass Inferno. They also took characters from each novel. One of the novels had the lead character as an architect. That was in the film The Towering Inferno. That part went to Paul Newman. And in the other novel had the emphasis very much more. They were both of these novels were assembly novels, as is the movie, but they had their main characters. And the other novel had the main character was a fireman. And in the Towering Inferno, that part was played by Steve McQueen. Now, Steve McQueen and Paul Newman at the time were massive, two of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and there was a lot of not animosity, because they got on surprisingly well. There was a lot of competition between the two. McQueen was especially difficult, and he went through the script and read all the lines of his character and Newman's character, and discovered that Newman had 12 lines more than he did. So he created a fuss about that, and the film had to be rewritten to add 12 lines to McQueen's script. McQueen and Newman were both given top billing, equal billing in the movie, and they were both paid the same fee of $1 million. They were also given a percentage of the film, and I made a note just so I get this right. Percentage of the film was 7.5% of the gross, and this made McQueen at that time the highest paid actor in the world, though Paul Newman wasn't far behind. The budget of the movie was $14 million, but it went on to make $200 million, and the time that all the gross royalties was paid to Newman and McQueen, they both ended up receiving $14 million from this movie. It really was a massive movie. It premiered in December 1973, and it won 8 Academy. It was nominated rather for 8 Academy Awards, but it won 3. It's a great movie. Even now, the special effects, there's no such thing as CGI in 1974 world, and the special effects are done so cleverly because you only ever see a small section of action, but they hint at the bigger picture. So we get a few establishing shots of this massive skyscraper, a fictional skyscraper actually, in San Francisco. So we get shots of this big skyscraper, and throughout the film we have fed different scenes. There's a scene in Paul Newman's office, for instance, where it's a nice plush office, but he's got TV screens, closed circuit camera screens, and on these screens we can see the security people working down below, other people working there. So it gives the sense of size, of scale. It's really clever done. So when we do get some of the fire scenes, and most of the fire scenes in this movie, it is real fire you're seeing. They're really well done, and it really does look effective. You can see the movie playing out here on the screen here. There's an establishing shot there, look at the tower, and there we're inside the tower with Fred Astaire knocking on the door. Fred Astaire, that's the lady here, they have a love story running throughout this movie, and it's rather touching in the way that this ends. But as you can see, we're only getting small sections of action, and the movie plays out like this. You do get the odd establishing shot of the skyscraper on fire, with fire in the middle floor, fire on a few floors above, but that's about it. Most of the action is small scale, but because of the skill of the way the movie is put together and the way they use movie grammar, we give them that sheer size. It's an excellent movie. I watched it the other night. I've seen it umpteen times over the years, but I watched it the other night in this Blu-ray version, and I've got to be honest, the transfer is brilliant. It's really clear. Would I get a 4K version now that I've got the Blu-ray disc? I don't think I would, unless the special features were far more special than what's on this, but this does have a wealth of special features. We've got a commentary by film historian F.X. Feeney. We've got vintage production material, presentation reels. There are several featurettes which were out in the cinemas prior to the premiere of this movie to build up anticipation. There's so much in the way of supplemental material on this disc that makes it a classic Blu-ray. It's well worth the purchase price. So another drop of the Brewdog. There's a scene in this movie which really tickles me. So there's this young kid, and he's wearing these headphones, which have got big antennas coming up. So it's a radio. I assume this is a radio with built into a pair of overhead headphones, and I googled that to see what make that was, because I couldn't believe that anything so cumbersome could have actually been on the market, and it turned out I was right. These headphones were invented by the props department because that was their idea of how gadgets, portable audio gadgets, was going to go in the next couple of years. Thank God they were wrong with that. Okay, now for the most disturbing thing in this film, check out this kid's earphones. I can only assume that these are radio receivers, since they're headphones with the two antennae aerials sticking up. I googled this to see what model these were and if these were a real thing, and this was actually a prop made for the films. And this was what the prop makers thought that portable music devices were going to become in a few short years from 1974. Thank God they were wrong. But take a look at this. There we are, look at these. Aren't they the most cumbersome thing you've ever seen? With that, we see here Robert Vaughn addressing William Holden here, and he had Richard Chamberlain next to him. Now, Richard Chamberlain's character is rather cardboard, it's rather soap opera-ish. He's the bad guy, he's the son-in-law of William Holden, and he's been cutting corners with materials used to construct this massive skyscraper which allows the fire to spread so easily. His character is a bit cardboard and it's a bit soap opera-y, but it's still a really good movie. It's the special effects that make it, and of course the pacing. I mean, the film runs for 2 hours 16, I think, or 2 hours. That's the trouble with DVDs and Blu-rays and CDs. The writing is so small, you need bloody magnifying glass to read it, so yeah, it runs 165 minutes, so that's only 50 minutes short of 3 hours, so it's quite a lengthy movie, but it doesn't feel like it. It really doesn't drag at all. It flies along, it zings along. It's an excellent movie. And the Blu-ray, of course, as I said, has got a heck of a lot of special features on it, so it's well worth buying. So that's Irwin Allen's The Towering Inferno. Currently, the highest resolution version of this, it is a DVD, the highest resolution version of this is the Blu-ray. It is likely that there will be a 4K release somewhere down the road, because I say there was a 4K version put together for the anniversary, the 50th anniversary of the film, which was last year. So that's The Towering Inferno from Irwin Allen, a movie that is anything but a disaster.
Coming to the Tavern.